Hey, welcome back. Today I want to talk about something that has totally transformed my understanding of wellness, and that's how our bodies communicate wisdom that our minds often try to override. So have you ever felt your weight fluctuate despite doing all the right things, or noticed how you instinctively reach for your phone during emotional moments? What about that overwhelming relief when plans cancel, followed by immediately guilt? Or wonder why summer foods seem to nourish you differently than winter ones even? These aren't random experiences. They're actually sophisticated communication systems trying to guide you back to authentic living. And I want to share something personal with you. After watching my mother carry anxiety like some kind of armor for decades and then ultimately seeing how it manifested as cancer, I experienced my own health crisis that forced me to recognize how years of self-abandonment had literally rewired my nervous system. Today I'm sharing 5 powerful insights about honoring your body's wisdom in a world designed to disconnect you from it. These insights have completely transformed how I relate to my body, technology, social obligations, seasonal living, and ultimately the relationship with myself. So let's dive in. When my weight actually fluctuated 20 pounds during my own healing journey, I was really surprised. So not so much from a vanity perspective, but because I knew what was going on internally with my health. As all the healthy habits, all the restrictive eating, none of it seemed to matter. I felt like my body was betraying me. After my breakdown revealed how chronic stress had dysregulated my entire system, I realized something profound. My body wasn't failing me, it was trying to actually save me. Growing up with my own fair share of familial dysfunction, just like most people, I'd learned that my worth in the family was tied to control and appearance. But during my healing crisis, my body needed resources for repair, not restriction. The weight protection wasn't random, it was actually my body's own wisdom. What most diet programs never address is how intimately connected your body weight is to your nervous system state. When your body perceives ongoing threat, whether from external circumstances or internal self-abandonment patterns, it creates protective responses that often manifest physically. Your body's stress response is brilliant, but it can be misunderstood. Cortisol disruption directly affects metabolism. Chronic stress increases cellular inflammation, self-abandonment triggers protective patterns, weight changes reflect nervous system state. Your body adapts to what it perceives as threats. And this goes far beyond simplistic calories in and calories out model that dominates wellness culture. Stress hormones can override metabolic function regardless of diet and exercise. Emotional suppression creates metabolic resistance. People-pleasing depletes cellular energy. Trauma responses can manifest as weight protection. Body size reflects systemic patterns, not just food choices. I started noticing specific patterns. Stress when appeared with chronic cortisol elevation, inflammatory weight accumulated with unprocessed emotions, metabolic slowdown happening during intense healing phases, weight protection often correlated with past trauma activation. The breakthrough came when I stopped warring with my body and started listening to what it needed. Safety in relationships, emotional processing, and nervous system regulation. The weight naturally stabilized as I addressed these root patterns. Instead of asking, how can I control this? I began asking, what is my body trying to communicate? I started noticing correlations between life stressors and physical changes. I identified which protection patterns were being activated. I addressed emotional root causes rather than just physical symptoms. I supported my body's wisdom instead of fighting against it. And this required completely reframing how I approached healing. Regulating my nervous system before focusing on weight, addressing boundary violations in relationships, processing unresolved emotions, and creating safety in my environment, trusting my body's innate wisdom rather than external experts. See, your body's wisdom transcends societal standards. When you trust its protective intelligence rather than fighting against it, you create the conditions for true healing. Mid-sentence, I used to grab my phone. During vulnerable moments, my eyes would drift off the screen. I told myself I was just multitasking, but the truth was more uncomfortable. I was using devices to actually escape the intensity of real human connection. And after my relationship patterns began mirroring my phone patterns, I realized something profound. Digital distraction isn't just about technology addiction. It's about presence avoidance. Growing up learning to manage others' emotions while suppressing my own, full presence frankly felt overwhelming. The safety of checking out behind a screen was familiar and comfortable, while sustained eye contact and vulnerable conversation triggered my nervous system. I began noticing specific patterns in my digital avoidance: unconscious phone grabs during emotionally charged conversations, mild anxiety when my device was out of reach, an automatic scroll reflex during emotional moments, multitasking to avoid vulnerable connection, and a strange urgency about notifications during intimate time. So what was I really avoiding? Discomfort with silence, vulnerability and sustained eye contact, the fear of truly being seen, anxiety about being fully present, an escape route from authentic intimacy. The relationship cost became impossible to ignore. My partner felt unseen and unimportant. Our conversations lacked depth and emotional and completion. Emotional intimacy diminished gradually. Trust eroded through these micro abandonments, and the quality of our connection degraded systemically. The transformation began when I realized my pre-digital self knew how to be fully present without constant escape routes. I created what I call pre-digital presence practice, placing phones in a different room during meals, making conscious eye contact without looking away, completing conversations without interruption, practicing comfort with silence, asking deeper questions without planning my response. Specifically for dinner time, which had become a particularly dangerous zone for disconnection, I established clear rituals: device-free meal times, full presence for at least 20 minutes, sharing one vulnerable truth with each meal, practicing active listening without mentally formulating my response, and ending with some form of physical connection. What surprised me most was realizing this wasn't just about phone addiction, it was about nervous system regulation. Full presence requires a regulated nervous system that can tolerate intensity instead of emotional connection. When I addressed the underlying dysregulation rather than just the symptom of phone checking, everything shifted. The breakthrough actually came when I started treating phone-free dinners as presence practice rather than just another should, building tolerance for sustained eye contact, and creating safety for real-time emotional expression, developing comfort with the intensity of being truly seen. Your partner doesn't need your perfect responses. They need your authentic presence. And presence is a practice that can be rebuilt one device-free dinner at a time. I would eat the same healthy foods year-round, completely disconnected from the seasons. Kale in summer, berries in winter, whatever fit in my macros, until I realized I was treating food like fuel instead of medicine. After my own personal breakdown and healing journey taught me about my body's need for cyclical living, I discovered that eating seasonally wasn't just about nutrition, it was about trusting my body's wisdom to attune to natural rhythms. Growing up disconnected from my body's signals, I'd learned to override hunger, fullness, and intuitive cravings with rigid rules. But summer's abundance offered an invitation to reconnect with pleasure and trust. Summer foods have specific energetic qualities that align with the season's natural rhythm. Cooling fruits balance the inflammation that can come with heat. Fresh greens support liver detoxification and winter's heavier foods. Hydrating vegetables calm an overactive nervous system. And raw foods actually connect us to vitality when energy naturally peaks. Colorful produce mirrors the inner flowering that summer invites. And beyond just nutritional content, food colors actually speak to specific energy centers. Red foods awaken energy and groundedness. Orange foods ignite creative expression and vitality. Yellow foods actually support digestive confidence and personal power. Green foods ground anxiety and open the heart. And purple foods enhance intuition and connection to a deeper spiritual wisdom. Summer itself extends an invitation to authentic expression. Nature models uninhibited growth and abundance. Peak sunlight supports vitamin D production for mood regulation, and longer days encourage expanded capacity and expression. Heat actually invites emotional transparency and authenticity, and the growth season reflects our own inner transformation potential. I began viewing seasonal eating as a form of self-care. Berries support cellular repair, melons hydrate emotionally and physically, fresh herbs calm an overactive nervous system, raw vegetables provide enzymatic support for digestion, local foods attune to your energy to the immediate environment. And the colors of my palette became a form of therapy. Rainbow eating naturally balances energy centers. Vibrant foods reflect and encourage vibrant expression. Eating seasonally honors natural cycles rather than fighting against them. And fresh produce mirrors fresh perspectives and clarity. Colors can heal what words sometimes cannot express. The transformation happened when I started asking, what does my body want to eat today, rather than what I should eat according to some external rule. Summer's vibrant foods became partners in my journey back to self-trust. Your body's seasonal cravings are invitations to align with nature's wisdom. When you honor these intuitive pulls, you rebuild trust with your internal knowing. When my friend texted to cancel dinner plans, I felt a wave of relief so strong I had to sit down immediately, followed by crushing guilt. Was I a terrible friend? Why wasn't I excited to see people I loved? After my breakdown taught me to honor my body's signals, I realized that this relief wasn't antisocial. It was actually my nervous system protecting my healing capacity. Growing up as everyone's emotional support, I'd learned that my needs came last. And as an adult, I continued saying yes from obligation while my body begged for rest. The relief when plans canceled was my only honest confession. I started noticing the physical sensations of this secret relief. Instant body relaxation when the cancellation call or text came through. A deep exhale of thanks that I didn't have to perform socially. The guilt that immediately followed the relief, though. Shame about not wanting to go. Questioning my social capacity and my worth as a friend. What I didn't realize at the time was that my body was honestly communicating crucial data. Relief signals overextension beyond my actual capacity. Exhaustion indicates an energy deficit that needs honoring. Gratitude for cancellations reveals misaligned commitments, and physical ease confirms authentic no, that your mouth couldn't speak. Energy return validates your body's wisdom about its limits. The pattern this created was clear. Saying yes from obligation or guilt rather than authentic desire, ignoring capacity signals at the time of agreement. Forcing myself to maintain a social image regardless of personal cost, and prioritizing others' feelings over my own needs. Accumulating social debt that my body eventually had to repay with exhaustion. The transformation began when I started reframing relief as wisdom rather than a failure. So here's the thing, your body knows your true capacity before your mind admits it. Relief confirms misaligned energy commitments. Honoring your limits actually preserves relationships rather than damaging them. And consistent overextension erodes trust with yourself and others. Self-respect models healthy boundaries for everyone in your life. I develop practices for building authentic capacity, checking in with my energy before accepting invitations, allowing a 48-hour response buffer to non-urgent requests, practicing micro-no's to build my boundary muscle, planning recovery time into my social calendar between events, and communicating honestly about my capacity rather than just making excuses. The breakthrough came when I started using relief as data. Instead of feeling ashamed about it, I got curious. What was my body trying to tell me about this particular invitation or relationship? How could I prevent future overextension by honoring what I now knew? Your relief when plans cancel is your body's truth. Listen without shame, and you'll build a social life that truly nourishes rather than depletes you. Every summer, I'd panic about wasted time and create rigid routines to stay productive. But underneath the scheduling anxiety was a deeper fear. What if I let myself fully inhabit my authentic desires and expressions? After my healing journey taught me about cyclical living, I realized summer wasn't about maximizing output. It was about maximizing authenticity. Growing up learning that my authentic expression was too much for others, I'd learned to tone myself down year-round. But summer's expensive energy invited me to risk being fully seen. See, summer creates specific energetic qualities that align with authenticity, expansion, and outward expression after winter's contraction. Peak vitality and creative output when light is longest, authentic connection opportunities in relaxed outdoor settings, heightened sensitivity and awareness, and as nature fully blooms, natural boundary dissolution as environments blend indoor and outdoor living. I began aligning with summer's wisdom rather than fighting against it, using increased daylight to support authentic expression, allowing warmth to invite vulnerability and sharing, observing how nature models self-permission through abundance, practicing genuine connection in social gatherings, using peak energy for brave conversations I'd been avoiding. This seasonal alignment led to specific self-discovery practices, saying yes to desires I'd suppressed in colder months, expressing opinions I'd been hiding, wearing colors that felt authentic rather than appropriate, hosting gatherings from my true self rather than a performative host persona, and taking small adventures that scared me a little bit but expanded my comfort zone at the same time. Summer also invited recalibration of boundaries, noticing how heat affects your capacity, allowing authentic needs without apology, and practicing sun protective self-care that honored my own sensitivity. Honoring changing and energy rhythms throughout the day and trusting seasonal shifts in relationship dynamics. The integration happened through conscious nature connection, using longer days for introspection rather than just productivity, and connecting with people in natural sunlight. Processing emotions through movement outdoors and aligning projects with peak energy cycles. Allowing seasonal transformation rather than forcing constant linear progress. Summer's essential teaching became clear through this. Life force energy varies seasonally rather than remaining constant. Authentic expression requires alignment with the natural cycles, and nature supports our return to self when we pay attention. The summer months specifically invite us to be brave vulnerably when we feel most supported. Cyclical living honors our whole self rather than just our productive aspects. The transformation happened for me when I stopped forcing productivity and started trusting summer's invitation, saying yes to desires I'd been hiding or weren't even aware of, having conversations I'd been avoiding, expressing creativity without editing. Summer asks, what aspects of yourself are ready to come out of hiding? When you align with its energy, authentic expression becomes not just possible, but natural. You're going with the rhythm of the season. So today we've journeyed through weight fluctuations as communication, phone checking as intimacy avoidance, seasonal eating as medicine, relief at cancellations, and summer alignment authenticity practice, all different facets of the same one truth, that your body is constantly communicating wisdom if you're willing to listen. When I look back at who I was before my own healing journey and frankly health crisis, the person who fought against these things, who escaped vulnerability through screens, who ate according to rules rather than seasons, who pushed beyond capacity, who forced productivity, who kept toxic relationships in his sphere, I feel such compassion for that former version of myself. I did the best I could with the tools I had. And that's what I want to leave you with today. Compassion for wherever you are in this journey of reconnecting with your body's wisdom. The transformation isn't about perfection at all. It's about presence. It's about pausing long enough to hear what your body has been trying to tell you